Karen McMahon, Superintendent of the Saugus Public Schools. Thank you to Saugus TV for providing me this opportunity to connect directly with Saugus residents each month. My guests today include 3 exceptional seniors, all of whom have attended the Saugus Public Schools since kindergarten. They not only excelled academically, with each of them receiving the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship for a state college or university, but they also stand out outside the classroom. All 3 are members of the National Honor Society, are involved in extracurricular activities at the high school, and also hold down jobs. Jason Champa runs indoor and outdoor track and works at Shaw's Supermarket. Maddie Goyech plays soccer and works for Saugus Youth and Recreation. And Alyssa Martinez is part of the drama club and band. She plays clarinet and works at the Greater Boston Stage Company. Thank you all for joining me, and congratulations on an outstanding student career in Saugus. I'm excited to see what the future holds for each of you as you head off to college. So, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, and congratulations on an outstanding student career. I want to start with Madison. Madison, I understand you'll be attending Nichols College.
Yes, I will.
This coming year, where you'll be studying business and playing soccer.
Yes.
Tell me how you think the Saugus Public Schools help prepare you for this next chapter of life.
I really couldn't imagine not going to Saugus schools. Like all of my teachers, they've done everything they could for me, and I pushed myself, and the teachers really didn't let me not. So all the teachers I've had really made me push my education further. So I feel like they're really a big step in where I will be attending college. And I took a class there too, and the teacher, the professor at the school was just like my teachers here. So it was really nice to see that.
Sounds like hardworking, really cared about you. And Alyssa, you plan on attending Clark University to study theater and education. Yeah. You were also part of the drama club, the school band, the National Honor Society, the class board, and you worked. What advice would you give to other students trying to balance academics, extracurriculars, and a job?
I would say to obviously try to prioritize your schoolwork, because that's important. You want to be able to graduate. But to know that teachers and bosses at work and people you're working with for extracurriculars are understanding. So if you do find yourself getting overwhelmed, being able to communicate that is very helpful. And then just kind of trying it, like, extracurriculars are meant to be fun. They're meant to just add more to your life, not to make it stressful. So if you go in with that mentality, it's good.
That's a great point. I love it. That mindset of it. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Let's have fun. Good. So I'm curious, Jason or Maddie, do you have any other advice for your younger students trying to juggle the same thing that you've juggled? School, work, friends, family.
I think it's very important, obviously, to focus on the school work, and it is good to have work experience at this age and being able to carry that into your future. But I also think it's very, very important to prioritize the friendships and relationships that you'll have in your life, because those are what's going to keep you really happy and in a good state mentally, I feel. And that's been very important for me going through high school so far.
Yeah, I'm curious, what did you notice about that during COVID?
Like friendships and relationships? For me, I've always been kind of tech savvy, so I have a lot of my friends through the computer and through games and stuff. So for me, it was actually easier to connect with them because I had more time on my hands to be online a lot more. And for my relationships in real life, it did take a little bit of distance. It took a bit of a hit, but being back in school and out in the world now, those are starting to come together. But it's just about communication. Even sending out like a small text to people who I hadn't seen in a while kind of went a long way, I think.
I bet. Maddie, how did that experience go for you?
It was fine for me. I'm really a homebody. I like to FaceTime people. But after realizing, like the COVID, realizing not being able to see people,
Yes.
I go out a lot more. I make sure that I communicate with my friends if I haven't seen them, just like, oh, hey, I miss you. Like, what are you guys up to?
Yeah.
But seeing like kids in school, like the freshmen and the sophomores, they were out for so long and they really had no high school experience yet. I feel like they aren't like ready. They still seem like young, and we just, like the upperclassmen, we really need to help them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like all of you have taken leadership roles in your organization so that you can help them out and reach out to younger kids. Before I move on, though, Jason, you plan on studying computer science in college, and you're still undecided, though strongly considering Endicott College.
Correct.
You're also on the student council and the National Honor Society while serving as captain of your indoor track team.
Yes.
Great. What would you say are some of your keys to success in high school?
Time management is the big one. I've been fortunate enough to be able to manage my time accordingly to whatever I need it to be. I've just always been able to kind of like know what I have going on before I get into a day. So I think, like, it's just simple things like I use the calendar app in my phone, which a lot of people laugh at. They're like, oh, you use your calendar app? And I'm like, yeah, I use my calendar app. And it's nice for me to have things like planned and visualized. So time management's a big one, just knowing what you have going on.
So it sounds like that's a theme among the three of you. Time management, prioritization, Alyssa brought through before, and then relationships, really making sure you prioritize those as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Am I following?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Great. So I'd love to hear from you, from each of you, why you think it's important for you to attend college. So whomever would like to start, why is it important for you to attend college?
Sure.
Go for it.
I know a lot of people find success without going to college, but I feel like it is a place that I want to go to because it doesn't just help with like academics. It helps with like socially being out on your own and being more in like the real world. Whereas like I feel like if I stayed home and jumped right into a career, I wouldn't be as prepared for the social aspect or the academic aspect.
That's really interesting. I'm going to come back to you on that. How about you, Maddie?
I think it's important because I really would like to see what the workplace is going to look like. I don't want to just be like you said, thrown right into there, not knowing what I'm doing. I feel like I need another few years to really push me to get there and do like internships and co-ops that a lot of colleges let their students do. I feel like that's important to be able to work before you actually go to work.
It's such a good point. Would you have liked to have college level classes while you were in Saugus, if that's something that we explore in the future?
I feel like that would be important. Like I know that what class? Oh, sports management. They had to do presentations.
Yes.
And I feel like doing things like that would really benefit a lot of students. Like interviews, we've never done that before.
Yes.
So I feel like things like that are gonna, what you would do to get a job, how to prepare and things like that would really benefit our students.
That's great advice. Thank you. And how about you, Jason? Why is it important for you to go to college?
For me, I'm pretty individualized. I don't tend to easily get along with people. So I think for me, the idea of having a roommate and like some stranger that I'm going to be in very close proximity with, it's kind of a frightening idea. And I'm like complaining to my parents, I want a single dorm when I go. But they're pushing me, and they're starting to make me see that is part of college, the whole social aspect and learning how to deal with people who you'll either get along with very well or who you might hate with everything you have. But it's a core aspect of just the future and life in general. And I think being thrown into a situation like that, into the unknown, is part of what college is, and it's very important to me.
Yeah, well said. And I'd actually like to go back, Maddie. You plan to play soccer.
Yes.
That's exciting. Tell me about the team.
So I went to Nichols like 3 times already this year. The
Yes.
coach emails me and she's like, oh, like let's talk. And I'm like, okay. So the girls, they're so welcoming. We talk all the time. There's a lot of girls that are also going in that we talk to like every day. So it's really like a big open arms. Like we are I feel like our grade is really close, so it's great to know that like I'm also gonna have people that are already interested in talking to us and wanting to be like part of my my college experience, not just, oh, we're gonna play soccer together, bye.
That's great.
So-
So you already are excited about the people
Yeah.
you're going to be with. That's fantastic. Wait, Alyssa, did we talk about you going to Clark?
A little bit.
But I don't think we really did. So I want to come back. Why? You're planning on attending Clark, and you're going to study theater and education.
Yes.
Wow. And so given that, what's attracting you to Clark? Why Clark?
Again, kind of going with Maddie said, like the open arms community feel. When I went there, I did a tour there, and then I went back again. It was they want you to succeed. And I feel like that was very apparent.
Yes.
And for their theater program, I walked into their arts building, and it just felt lived in, and it felt like a place where people were creating things, and a place where I want to be. And they go out into their community and do a lot of things, which is something that's important to me. So that's why I want to go there.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. Can I
Yeah.
come with you? That is awesome. So as you wrap up your high school careers, I'd like each of you to share a favorite memory from your time in the Saugus Public Schools. When you think about it, what special moments or experiences stick out in your mind?
For me, it's a lot of it's a lot of the fun stuff that you get to do towards the end of the year. So for me, I always push myself, and I work pretty hard. So getting to do things like in elementary school, we would have field day, and it's just getting to spend all that time with your classmates and all these people that you're around every single day, except you do it in a more like fun and lively nature. It's not all work and efficiency. It's just you get to live a little. So I think just elementary school field days, they just they're very, very fond place in my mind.
We're having a field day this year, if that makes you feel good.
Senior year field day might be the academic contender.
Tell us about that, Maddie. What were your special moments?
Mine is hands down color day every year.
Yes.
It's just crazy to see all these kids working together for one cause. Obviously, it's to win. I'm competitive. I like to win. But you see all these kids coming together that most of the time wouldn't. Like there's many. I hate to say it, but there's many groups of people. Like the soccer kids, and then the kids that prefer music and drama and that color and draw, and everyone just works together for one sole purpose. And then on color day, you go to school and you see all the hard work everyone put in just for your sole entertainment. And it's right before Thanksgiving, so it's like, wow.
It was impressive this year, I
Yeah.
have to tell you. My first color day, I was very impressed.
Yeah.
Yes, the Star Wars theme, and then also all the work
yeah.
you did in the high school too.
Melissa's decorations.
Amazing. So, Alyssa, for you, what have been the special moments or experiences in Saugus Public Schools?
I also love color day, but I would say I love probably our performances with drama club the most. Just
Yes.
similar to color day, putting in all of that work for so long with your peers, and just being able to show that, and it's really rewarding and so much fun. Just putting on a show.
That's fantastic. Is there a show that stands out to you?
I loved when we did Pippin. That was so much work, but I loved the outcome of that.
That's great. Were you directing? What was your role in Pippin?
Let's see, what did I do in Pippin? I think I did props
You
for
did
that
props?
show. Yeah.
Great. So you
Yeah.
just love being part of that team effort.
Yes.
Like sort of what Maddie was just talking about too, with how it all came together in Color Day too. Got it. So I'm curious. I'm wondering, as you think about what you think could be done differently or improved on to make the Saugus Public Schools even better for our next generation. So right now, if you can imagine it, we have 4 and 5-year-olds in our pre-K and our K. 12, 13 years from now, they're going to be sitting in these chairs just like you, preparing for college. So what can we do better so that they are even in a better place in our next generation?
Like I said, preparing them for interviews and I don't know, everyday things, like how to budget and more just basic things like that.
Real world.
Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
that's exactly how you should put it.
Real
How to do
world
taxes,
skills.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff that we don't know how to do yet.
Yeah.
And what more, Alyssa? What would you add?
Yeah, for the day-to-day, like, yeah, like she was saying, like trying to do things that we have to do when we're adults because we're not going to have anyone to show us.
And sometimes you just, the people that are the closest to you, like your parents, you don't want to listen to them all the time. Like you want to hear it from a teacher who's been through it and yeah.
So more opportunities I'm hearing to sort of practice real world life skills while you're still in high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I feel, sorry to cut you
please.
off, but I feel like if we're kind of trained in it in high school, when you get to college and when you're going to the job, like the anxiety is not going to be as harsh on you because you've been preparing for it for so long.
And that'll be helpful for the students who choose not to go to college.
Yes.
They'll still have a basis of skills to go into the world with.
I know more specifically, like for the technological classes, I take video editing with Mr. Webb, and we have this massive like studio production room, but he always talks about he hasn't had the proper training for it, so we're only able to use it to a certain extent, and he's been doing his best to like try and teach us what he knows already, and we're just kind of winning it. It's like a lot of buttons, and it's pretty intimidating, but learning how to use things that look so scary like that, and then eventually being able to master them, I think it helps a student kind of engage themselves and to grow, and then ultimately like you gain some real world skills as well.
That's really interesting. I love your perspective. So we're gonna go touch back a little bit on the pandemic, but then we're gonna move forward into some fun things. So I'm curious. It says that, I mean, when we look at your high school career, 3 of the last 4 high school years have been impacted by COVID in some way. What would you like people who have not lived this experience with you, which is a majority of the town of Saugus? They've lived COVID in their own way, but they haven't lived high school like you have lived high school. You are unique. What sort of impact did it have on you and your plans for the future, if any? I'm curious if there was any impact.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, it was it might sound a little bad, but it was kind of a breather at first.
Really?
Like having the initial, initially it was supposed to be the 2 weeks away from school, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, and it was just a nice chance to kind of like breathe for a second, just take a step back, and I think that was really eye-opening, and then obviously having it go on and on for the rest of our sophomore year was a bit extensive, but yeah, I think it just kind of, it gave me a new perspective on a lot of things. I think I started working harder, and when I did have the opportunity to come back in person, I was able to, I guess, I was just different in a sense. I was able to kind of realize I can't phrase this properly, I'm sorry.
No, here, I'm going to come back to you. You think about it.
Yeah, I will.
And
do that.
Alyssa, I'm actually going to jump down to you because,
Okay.
the first shall be last. You're going to get to go first. So tell me, how has COVID impacted you? So it's, again, as we left off with Jason, he said, it really started in spring or March of our sophomore year. How has it impacted you?
I feel like I had a little bit more of a negative experience with it at first.
Yeah.
Because it was very overwhelming. Going to school, having the busy day-to-day life, then all of a sudden it all just stops one day was very jarring. Like I didn't know how to handle that per se. So even the work they did give us was not the same as what we were doing in school. But not that I necessarily lost my work ethic or motivation. It was just hard to keep going when I didn't even know if we were going to go back, when we were going to go back. Just the uncertainty was very overwhelming, which affected both social aspects and academic aspects.
Yeah. And how do you think, to what extent is it guiding your future plans?
I appreciate being in school so much, and I don't want to take that for granted when I'm in school every day.
Yeah, I can see that. Maddie?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I also think that it was really, it was overwhelming because nobody knew the answer. I also kind of lost my work ethic for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's 2 weeks, it's fine. And then it was longer and longer. And now I go to school, I work hard, I do my work, I go home, I do my homework. So it wasn't really a big deal for me because you guys were hardworking students, but there's a lot of kids who struggled with it, and not knowing when it was going to be back to quote unquote normal, it really like stressed a lot of people out.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, Jason, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, it was about the work ethic is what I was trying to say. Before the pandemic, it was a lot more sporadic. I'd have periods where I was like super into it and then like burnt out and not able to do it. But now I think I've recognized that, and I've been able to kind of pinpoint it, and now I can pace myself a lot better without having these extreme burnouts and periods where I just don't want to do any work or any sort of activities.
That's interesting. So it sounds like you guys have learned a perspective of pacing, appreciating the chance to be in person, and then acknowledging that we all collectively went through a difficult time, and we're still coming out of it. It sounds like you will also appreciate in-person classes in college next year. So that's good too. All right, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun. I'm gonna ask each of you the same 3 questions.
Okay.
This time I'm gonna just, Alyssa, just as a heads up, I'm starting with you.
Okay.
And then the next time I'll start with Maddie, and the next time I'll start with Jason. So, Alyssa.
Yes.
Who was your favorite teacher during your years in Saugus, and why?
I'll stick with the answer I said before.
Yes.
Mr. Fontanella, we call him Font. He was my, I did AP US History and AP World History with him. The way he did the class was so good because it was kind of like more of a lecture style, but he was so excited to teach. Everything he went into was with so much, he just made it fun. He allowed us to talk back, like have it more discussion based at points. It allowed us to talk to our peers, really connected it to the real world, or our current world, I should say, because it was history. But
That's fantastic. Yeah, so it sounds like just the rigor in the class and his ways to engage you, and it sounds like you really get to lead in the class. That's great. Maddie.
I would say Mr. Webb, just the way he ran his class, like for yearbook especially, because I have him for video editing also. But he tells us what we need to do, and he tells us when it needs to be done, and he's kind of just like on top of us, but you work at your own pace, you do what you need to do when you need to get it done, and we are just allowed to be ourselves and show our creative side without being told this is the outline, which is a lot of issues where, like, if I am doing something, I want to be given a guide, but I don't want to be given rules. I feel like that's a big thing that that's why I really like his class. Some things like that.
He tells you where to go, but he doesn't necessarily tell you how to do it.
Yes, exactly.
I see. That's helpful. And I think you had the same one, but you get to choose.
It was close. I really do enjoy Mr. Webb, but I've had Mr. Serino the past 3 years as well, and he's been phenomenal. He's been super helpful, and he does computer science, which is just something I figured I'd be interested in, and he helped fuel that passion a bit. Going to his class, he gives it more of he tells you what you have to do, and then you do it with as much help as you need or as little help as you need. So for me, it was a lot more of an independent aspect, especially in the beginning, but then as things got more difficult, he was always there if I needed to lean on him for help.
Great.
And I've taken every single class I possibly could have with him. So this year I wasn't able to fit any into my schedule, but I'll see him, I'll visit his classroom, say hi to him, and every time I check with him, he's always asking me how I'm doing, and I can tell he actually wants to know how I'm doing. So he's been super awesome for me.
Wow, so it sounds like Mr. Serino, Mr. Webb, and Mr. Fontanella all really engaged you in class and really gave you clear expectations, but let you get there, yourselves.
Yes.
Kind of, what you were talking about, Maddie, like before we got on air, you said, he acts like your boss, and he just says, this is what you need to do.
He allows us to go to our peers instead of waiting 20 minutes, like, to talk to him like we would do in the workplace.
Yeah, very nice. Good. All right, second question. This time, Madison, it's come to you. In Saugus, is there some place special you'd like to visit?
I don't think there's anywhere specific. I just, like, this is our home. This is where I like to be. So even if it's just driving around to drive around just to see everything,
Yeah.
that's really what I would do.
You love Saugus.
Yep.
All together. Good.
Never
How about you,
leaving.
Jason? How about you, Jason?
Right up the street from my house, there's a reservoir, and there's this really big hill I can always climb to get up to it. So I love sprinting up the hill, and then I like going like in all the different seasons, because during the winter it's all frozen, and I'm like, wow, snow, and then during the spring everything's like starting to bloom again. So that's definitely my happy place, and it's not like specific to Saugus or its history, but it's just a nice aspect of Saugus that I really appreciate. And it's right down the street from my house, so it makes it easy to
It
access.
sounds beautiful.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And how about you, Alyssa?
I would say maybe the ironworks, not necessarily for like, obviously the historical part is very good to learn about, but especially during COVID, it gave us a good place for me to go with my friends, and we'd bring like canvases and we'd go sit and paint, and we'd just like over like quarantine, I had a few picnics there with my friends just because it was an outdoor place that felt safe.
Yeah.
We could just hang out and
Oh, what a creative place to go. That's super fun. All right. Last but not least, and Jason, you get to start us off. I'd love to know, where would you like to travel post-COVID?
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
very,
Just
very
you
easy
go right
answer.
in.
Japan, yeah. Even before COVID, I was always just fascinated, because I've seen like just pictures and videos in Tokyo, and it's like to me it seems like New York, but like on a higher level than New York. And I've never been to New York either, but I'd like to go to Tokyo or Japan, and everything seems different there. I see things like Japanese products, and I'm like, wow, why don't we do that in America? And I want to like dive into Tokyo just for like a week, a month maybe. Just a long time in Tokyo. That would be awesome.
Oh, great. I'd love to talk to you about that. All right. And Maddie.
Greece. We were actually
Wow.
supposed to go this year, but not going to work right now. It started because me and my mom watched Mamma Mia, and I have wanted to go ever since. And
It is a beautiful country.
yeah,
Yes.
I want to go so bad. Just for like 3 weeks.
And you're going to go sing with your mom?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Alyssa?
I want to go to Bulgaria. I was supposed to go pre-COVID, but obviously that didn't happen. But
And what attracts you to Bulgaria?
the program I was supposed to go with was like rebuilding a theater and like there, and since I didn't get to go, I would just love to go and like learn about their history. Because a lot of interesting stuff that we don't really know about has happened there. And it's a very pretty country, so.
Wow. All right, I'm adding that to my list. Okay, so I guess just to wrap us up, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been incredible. And I'd like to thank you for joining me. You represent the best and brightest in Saugus, and you've already achieved great success despite facing many challenges, especially over the last few years. And I wish you the best. I want to hear more about what comes up next and where you decide to travel. So thank you for joining me this month.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it's been my pleasure. And as you know, our goal is to move from the bottom 10% to the top 10% in the state in the next 5 years. And so it's with people like you that we start this journey. So I'm so excited to see where you go. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon.